I was clicking around OGS, and when I went on my profile, I saw a sneaky little new button that I had never noticed before. It says compare to global distribution. I click it, and it gives you a bell curve of all the OGS users and what rank they lie on the scale. And you can see the peak of the bell curve is around 11Q. It's where, this is normal for any game of skill. You have this bell curve occurring where you have most of the player base having an average kind of middle point skill level. And then as the skill level gets higher, it tapers off and there's fewer and fewer players of the higher skill levels, and it goes the same for the other way around. Most people get up to speed. Peak in OGS seems to be around 11-ish Q. And this feature also shows you where your rank is in that curve, and it says that my rank, which is like a 3Q, is 86.22, or it's greater than 86.22% of players. Or I guess you could call it the 87th percentile is what you would maybe say. But I'm pretty happy with that evaluation. I thought that was a fun little feature. I don't know when they added it. The graph is actually kind of very nicely done. But I thought that was a cool thing. And also I wanted to note that I did say this in the episode I was interviewing. I forget which episode it was, whether it was the Starpoint one or the All Things Go one. But when I was talking to Travis about it, Go players in general are very skilled players. So even if you may look at this curve and find yourself maybe somewhere lower than you'd like to be, just know that Go players have put a lot of time into this game, and the community as a whole is a very high skill level community. So that is an achievement to just kind of be on that chart and part of this community, because it's a lot of people who play Go. I mean, most people who play Go play it and commit to it. So it's a very high level community. You're listening to Starpoint, the show about Go for Go fans away from the board. And I wanted to, before getting into the meat of the topic today, just do a little coverage on the Battle of the Sexes, which was a small tournament featuring some very prominent Korean pros and hosted on playgo.gg. I haven't watched any of the actual games. I kind of browsed through a couple of them, but I haven't paid enough attention to provide any commentary on the contents of the game. But just to kind of go over what happened and who was involved, this was kind of, I don't know if it would really be considered a battle of the sexes. It's just more like a tournament with two female professionals and two male professionals is like really what it comes down to. It's not like it wasn't like a pair Go thing where you had, two males against two females type of thing or anything like that. It was just a 4-person tournament, and it was a double elimination, which is, I think it's the best tournament format. I guess best is subjective depending on what your goals are. But the participants were none other than Shin Jin-seo and Kim Ji-seok for the male professionals, and Chae-jung and Kim Eun-ji. By the way, Kim Eun-ji is the strongest female Go professional in the world at this point. I think last time I ever covered Go news like this, Chae-jung was still on top. That has changed since then. So Kim Eun-ji is now the premier female professional in the Go world. And I'll just kind of go over who won the tournaments and stuff like the tournament in brief. The winner was, as you'd expect, Shin Jin-seo. It's kind of no surprise, but he did drop a game to Kim Ji-seok, which was in game 6 of the game. Both women of the tournament got kicked down to the losers bracket in the first round. They fought it, and Chae-jung actually came on top, defeating Kim Eun-ji to try to challenge Kim Ji-seok to win the losers bracket. Unfortunately, she was, fortunately for Kim Ji-seok, unfortunately for Chae-jung, she was unsuccessful, leading to the finals, which I guess in this format, since Shin Jin-seo won the winners bracket, even though Kim Ji-suk took the first game, Shin Jin-seo only needed to win one game to win the whole tournament. That's my logic. I think I'm understanding that correctly. But yeah, oh man, in this one game between game 6, when Shin Jin-seo lost, he lost by 0.5. So that's crazy. And all the other games were won by resignation, except for Kim Eun-ji versus Shin Jin-seo, where she lost by 7.5 points. And I'm going to just go out on a limb and say she wanted to play out the full game because she wanted to absorb as much of the experience of playing Shin Jin-seo as possible. But yeah, very cool, exciting. The time control also was incredibly fast. 60 seconds plus 10. I assume that's Fischer with a 10-second delay. But yeah, that's the Battle of the Sexes. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a sensational title, Battle of the Sexes type thing, and the concept itself, it's not like really, anything super interesting, but it does kind of look good on paper, and just like getting these top names on a single tournament, short format. With 4 people only, and it's just good publicity for Playgo.gg. So good on them for hosting this. And that kind of leads into the topic of discussion for today in the Go world that I want to talk about on Starpoint. Servers themselves, the online Go servers, not the online Go server, though we will talk about it. But overall, the existence of many servers and whether or not we need more servers. Well, clearly we don't need or have a necessity for more servers, but this question always comes up whenever somebody, particularly on Arbaduk, on Reddit, somebody is a developer and they decide, I'm going to enter the fray and I'm going to say, I'm working on a Go server. What would you guys want out of a Go server? If you followed any of these discussions, you will know that most of the time somebody comments that we don't need more Go servers because we are splitting the user base. We already have a small user base. It's hard to find matches on Western Go servers like OGS. If you try to find a live game, you will know what I'm talking about. It's pretty easy to get the correspondence ones because people play hundreds at a time, and it's just so low commitment. It's easy to just kind of get people. And OGS actually, fun fact, started off as a correspondence server. But if you're not playing on Fox or TiGem, it's really hard to get a game. I've tried in the past, and honestly, I don't have the patience to sit there for 30 minutes until somebody decides to log on and play me on OGS. And so this problem already exists. And the concept is that if a new server were to come into play, then some people would prefer to stay on OGS. Some people would leave OGS and thin it out even further. And so nobody gets a game. And this is a problem also because whenever a new server comes out, like Playgo.gg, we get bots, right? And this is like, I don't like playing bots, and I don't like the bots mingling with the matchmaking system where you're trying to queue up to play a human being and bots get slotted in. I really don't like that, and I've said stuff about that. And I've noticed on Paduk as well, some of that happening. But you also can't blame these developers, right? You have these, new or less popular Go servers, and you want people to play on those servers, but, the one person shows up and they don't get a game, they're going to leave. They're never going to come back. So you kind of have to think about how do I get more people to start? And it's like if you trick enough people to play because there are AI on the server, then maybe you reach a critical mass where you can take those AI back out. I don't really like that. I understand there is a problem that needs to be solved, but I feel like there needs to be some transparency in that regard. But anyway, what I'm trying to highlight here is that it's an issue, right? We don't have enough players. We don't have enough Go players to play on every server. So there's a concern that if you add more servers, we are more and more fragmented and more user bases are split and more people can't find matches and we have more bots, right? On the other hand, our current options that we have as Go servers are not perfect, right? None of them are quite hitting all of the right buttons and hitting the sweet spot for everything. I would say OGS is by far the one servicing the most people and hitting most of those or checking most of those boxes. But I feel like there's still room for improvement there. And a competitive market is a healthy market, right? You have if you have multiple servers competing with different features and making their servers the best that they can make it, then the other server has incentive to pick up slack and try to improve their server as well. If OGS is the only kid on the block, then OGS, if it has issues, but there's nowhere else we can go to play Go, then there's no reason for OGS to really advance, right? Other than obviously, goodwill. And I'm sure the people at OGS, they truly want to make the best product possible because they're passionate about it and they're doing a great service to the community. However, a new kid on the block can say, hey, you know what? I don't like the way you're doing this, OGS. And OGS is like, well, we do this this way we do this because this is what we think is good. And then if the new kid comes in and challenges that and say, you know what? I think this is better. And people actually pay attention to that other option, start moving over, then OGS has to wake up and say, okay, maybe I'm wrong about this. And so there is a conversation that can happen if there is competition. And that's the whole, concept of free market, right? So I want to kind of maybe start off the discussion a little bit by talking a little bit about some of the problems I have with OGS, right? I mean, I can't say enough good things about OGS just to start to lay the background for this because I really appreciate OGS and it's open source and it's great, right? I can't imagine Go without OGS. And it's hard to kind of like pick apart something that you love, but I think that it does have certain issues, right? Other than the fact that I can't find a game, which is not OGS's fault, right? I'm part of the problem, right? Because I don't go on OGS and wait patiently and add to the player base and the matchmaking. I just get bored and I go to Fox, right? Where I can find a game really quickly. But a couple things. I think the main thing that I would really look at with OGS is the user interface. There was a discussion a while back with OGS, and I think I mentioned it on Starpoint and talked a little bit about it. And I had high hopes for it. I think the discussion started off with like, well, what time control is best? Or what time control what is something that everybody prefers? Like, do we prefer Fisher over the Byoyomi, right? And there was a big movement to switch OGS to Fisher. But what ended up happening, as I see the OGS matchmaking page now, is it's just way too complicated. There are too many options. You have to click this button or that button, this button or that button, have this shorthand to indicate Byoyomi or Fisher. It doesn't actually even say that, right? It's trying to please too many people, has too many options. And if you notice, there's a little green light that appears on each of the time control settings. That indicates that there are people currently looking for a match on that right now. And if you go on it, it's like maybe one light at the most is lit. Sometimes I see a couple of them. I actually see a few, like 4 right now. That's actually maybe right now is the prime time to be looking for a match. But I think it's just too many, right? We need to funnel more people into fewer time settings. And that doesn't mean we take away everyone's freedom, but if we kind of default to something, it encourages people to choose one time setting over another. And that kind of starts to snowball, right? And we can kind of figure out what the best time setting is for that, just by how often people play on different time settings. I would say it's probably something along the lines of, I don't know. I feel like the Fisher time is what I would prefer. I understand if there's enough movement for Byo-Yomi, but I think Fisher is the modern way to go. And if we go for, I don't know, the current OGS settings right now, it says 2 minutes plus 7 for Fisher, or 3 minutes plus 10 for the longer one. Obviously, there's like a smaller one, which is a 30 seconds plus 5. I don't know, any of those options. It seems kind of short. Maybe I'm just not used to it. Maybe 3 minutes plus 10 sounds like 10 seconds sounds like a good one to me. Like if everybody just defaulted to one of those time settings. And then 19 by 19, obviously, right? We have 19 by 19 as the default option. But right now it's kind of like a free-for-all, and you can kind of go into any of those options and try to find a game in one of those options. But what you would probably end up doing is looking for the green lights and just clicking whatever green light's available. That's probably what I would do. So yeah, I don't know. That's my opinion on the interface. It's a little too complicated, pleases too many people, too many options. And you kind of can do an analysis of what the best way to build out these systems is by looking at commercially successful interfaces like chess.com or even Lichess and how they handle those things, right? If you go to chess.com, you kind of just have a default setup ready to go, and you just click play, and then you find a match. If you want, you can customize it, have a drop down, and do like all these other different time settings and that other people are using. But if you want to just play a game of chess, you don't have to think about it. There's something that's chosen for you, and it's like you don't have to even look at the options, and it's set up. Right, I go in right now, I'm looking at it right now, I just go to play online, and then I see 10 minutes rapid, start game, right? It's selected for me. I can change it. And the thing is that chess.com has the luxury of having a large enough user base that you can say, hey, come in and choose the time control before you start. Choose whatever you want, because we can find a game for you. But they don't. They have it defaulted at 10 minutes rapid, because that is a standard online popular time setting, and then they just kind of choose that for you, thereby making it very snowballed, has a critical mass, and you're able to find a match quickly. So I wish OGS would continue to update their interface to something a little more user friendly, a little more something a little more with a little more market appeal, and that change will probably be slow unless there's significant community movement for it. Or, like I said earlier, there's a new kid on the block. And the newest kid on the block that is being talked about nowadays is Playgo.gg. And wouldn't you know it, I think Playgo.gg has actually done some research. And, well, research can just mean I looked at the chess.com interface and I decided I'm going to take advantage of what they've done. That is like really the shortest shortcut to making something work, is to look at something that already works and then copy it. It may not be the most original, and that thing that already works may have issues, but they have spent a lot of time already ironing stuff out. So if you're going to stand on the shoulders of giants, you might as well start there. Playgo.gg, I'm looking at the interface right now, and it's a lot easier to look at than OGS. You go into play, you see the board size right there, and it's OGS also has this, but the layout it's a little bit more. Well, obviously you got all the other buttons in addition, but the fact that the board is like playable size almost already on the screen on Playgo.gg is pretty good. As soon as I go into the new game screen, it's like I'm about to play. The board is empty and it's right there on the full screen. And then so when I choose the board size, it's super obvious which board size I'm using, because I see 9x9 or 19x19 grid lines. And then there's actually Playgo.gg goes like completely opposite in terms of philosophy to OGS. Not only does it default to time control for you, which is 1 minute plus 10 seconds. I guess Fisher times, you don't really need much time. It builds up, I guess. I haven't played enough Fisher to know like how much time that feels like. Not only do they have a default time selected for you already, they only have 2 options to select. It's kind of crazy. And that's only for 19x19. If you go into the smaller board sizes, 9x9 and 13x13, there's only one minute plus 10 seconds. But if you go to 19x19, you have 2 options: 1 minute plus 10 seconds or 5 minutes plus 20 seconds. That's honestly like what I would do, right? You have people playing Go first and make sure everybody gets a match. And then when you have enough of a user base and people are asking for another time control, please let us use, let us make a 10 minute plus 20 second, whatever. And it's like that one is super popular. Then you start adding more, right? As if you are comfortable with splitting that. So the splitting the user base issue needs to be solved internally on the website, as well as across the whole Go community with all of the servers and everything as well. One thing I like here as well on Playgo.gg, there is a 2v2 option. I don't know what happens if I click this? There's more settings when I click in the 2v2 game. Interesting. And then if I click sudden death, so that is something that I would maybe, that is something that could improve on the Playgo.gg side. It seems like what they do is they have the new game option, like I told you, with the default time control selected, board size, everything. So you're ready to go. When you click play online, you jump into matchmaking, right? And that's great. But every other option underneath, play bots, play a friend, play sudden death, 2v2, when you click those options, you get another dialogue that allows you to fine-tune the settings for those. And that makes sense, right? If you're going to play a friend, then yes, you can kind of customize it however you want, and there's some options there. But it's a little unclear as to like how that's going to end up working for that above. That's just a small nitpick. I don't think people are going to really be confused by that too much. But if you look at chess.com, I mean, I'm going to have to keep going back to chess.com to compare, right? Because they're a money-making machine, right? They're working, they're oiled, right? They're greased, they know how to do this. You have the time control default and then start game in green. And then underneath are the options, and it's very distinct, right? It's a different set of options. There has a little space underneath. I have a UI background. This is why I'm getting so into it. So forgive me for this. But anyway, I like what I'm seeing from Playgo.gg. And I'm not saying that I'm seeing a mass exodus from OGS at this moment, but they are stepping up. I'm gonna say, when I first heard of it from Kai a couple episodes back. How many episodes? Man, that was a lot of episodes ago. It's like 5 episodes back. When I first heard about it, I was kind of like, oh, yet another Go server. I mean, I don't know if I've seen those come and go, but when I look at Playgo.gg, you know what? I might, in the coming weeks, no promises, but I might try to find a game on this server to see how it is. But that doesn't mean OGS has to go away. It could be that we have the chess.com answer to our OGS Lichess, right? Because you have in the chess world, chess.com and Lichess, 2 separate entities. Lichess being open source, and chess.com being a very for-profit machine. Playgo.gg looks like it's more of the for-profit machine rather than the OGS, which is kind of more open source. So it's possible that this could be our 2 websites, in the future, where you have Playgo.gg, which has like the subscriptions and the fees and the lesson plans, and it's polished and it's actually churning out content and updates because it has money to work with. And then you have the open source OGS, which is more of the people and can listen more to community feedback and serve the people in that way. That would be a very good thing for us if we have that dynamic. The only thing being like that other concern that I talked about at the top of the episode, the split user base, which is just because we don't have that many Go players. But we don't have this problem if you look at some of the other Go servers, like what I mention all the time, Fox. I can find a game on Fox really quickly. Some people have pointed out that maybe some of those people on Fox are also bots. I have said that I never felt like I was playing a bot on Fox. I could be wrong. I don't say I have the best bot radar or anything. Just my personal experience has always been that. But I wanted to kind of just go through the current servers and just give you a couple bytes of information of each of them. Right? We have Fox as one of the Chinese servers. I don't know of any other Chinese servers off the top of my head. I'm going off a list I saw on Sensei's library. And as with a lot of Sensei's library stuff, these numbers can be very dated. I don't know how accurate they are, but this Sensei's library article claims that Fox has an average of 40,000 players online. I don't know if that's true. That seems really high, really high. Fox also has Android and iOS. I don't have those, so I've never tried the Fox apps, or maybe I have, but if I did, I forgot. And it's my go-to server just because of how easy it is to find a game. That's really what it is. I used to play on TiGem. TiGem is a Korean server alongside WBaduk, which is also a Korean server. And these, I don't know how much, I think these should really take these numbers with a grain of salt. I think these are kind of made up, maybe, because it says that TiGem and WBaduk also have 12,000 average players online. I'm not sure. I completely buy that. For some reason, the Korean servers both have 12,000. And that's not been my experience either, right? I have given up on TiGem. I used to play on TiGem before I played on Fox, and after a couple times of not being able to find games, I just gave up on it. I went to Fox and I just said, I'm a Fox player now. Apparently, TiGem has a web app, but it's Japanese only. If anyone has experience with that, let me know. Also, it's reported to have an iOS app, as same with WBaduk has a Android and iOS app as well. Those are the Korean servers here listed, and then we have the Japanese servers, PandaNet, aka IGS, International Go Server is what it's called, I think, and GoQuest. I'm surprised KGS isn't listed here. I'm pretty sure KGS, I mean, it's Kaseto Go Server, so I know it's used by Westerners, but I would say that's like natively a Japanese server. Am I mistaken in that? I don't know. GoQuest being the mobile-only solution. I know that app also has this whole bunch of bots, and PandaNet I've also tried, and I was not able to get a game. Again, for PandaNet, I could not get a single game. I've tried a couple times. I was not able to. But it has all the platforms, Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, iOS. And if I were to get games, I would try it out again. But I just wasn't able to get a game. And then, like I said, GoQuest is mobile only, but is very popular in the mobile world. I think when you think of mobile Go apps, GoQuest is really at the top of the list. I think another one that's not here is Baduk Pop, which is a legitimate Go server. And I would say that's a Korean/Western. I think it's more Korean. Yeah, I think it's would be a Korean server. And then finally, we have the US or Western servers. We have OGS. This person has put 500 users on OGS as the online base. I think this may need an update. I don't know what the actual user counts are, but these look made up, if I'm being frank. OGS, obviously the greatest thing about OGS being a web app. It is completely mandatory for a modern Go server to be based on the browser. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's not rocket science. We're not going to be downloading a client like we did in the age of KGS. That's just not how things work. When people want to play chess, they go to a website or they download a mobile app. So OGS being web-based is like the biggest thing going for it. And I think that's probably why sometimes you see East Asian players on OGS, probably just because of the web support for it. Or maybe they just want to troll us Westerners. Who knows? Listed here is also Android iOS support that's unofficial. I wouldn't really give too much weight to that. I've tried various Android or iOS unofficial OGS apps. While they do work for certain purposes, they're not, going to be the fully fleshed out. I still haven't found a way to get a good notification system going on. OGS should actually, one of the things they should do is create a web app. So this is a thing where if you save a website, GoMagic has done this, by the way. If you save gomagic.org onto your home screen, it can be saved as a web app and they can send you notifications. OGS should 100% do this. I should be able to save OGS onto my home screen and then get notifications about all my moves. But I don't really have an issue with that either because I constantly check OGS and I'm not really in the need for the notifications. But OGS being also a correspondence server primarily, or not primarily, but to begin with. KGS is the legend, the kind of cult classic. I don't know how to describe it, but it has an immense presence in the Western Go culture. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to find a game right now. If you go to KGS, and because it's hard to find a game, the thing is you can't get a rank unless you play games. And so you're going to have this question mark and people are not going to want to play you. So not only are there not enough people to play you on KGS, you're going to have this question mark. And I think you can resolve that by playing AI, but you're going to have to play some AI in order to get a rank. I don't know if, I doubt that KGS changed that, but I know OGS recently got rid of the AI affecting rank, which is a very interesting move by them. And then lastly, I have DGS here, Dragon Go server. I have experience on this one as well. I used to play correspondence games on DGS because it had specific Android support that I could play with one of my friends who had an Android and wanted to play on the go. So I played on DGS, which I think... Did I use an app? I think I did use an app for DGS. But anyway, those are some of the major Go servers available right now. And so you can kind of say, oh yeah, I mean, there's plenty of servers already. The user base is already split. So you might on one side say there's no problem adding another one. On the other side, you might say, let's not split it any further. But here are a couple of nuances, right? A lot of these servers are Eastern servers, like the East Asian servers. So they're active most with people in Korea, Japan, China, Taiwan, things like that. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that Fox, TiGem, they're not browser based and their English support isn't great. So, I mean, these seem like small things. If your goal is to play Go, right? And you have your head set on playing Go. You want to play Go and you want to play Go with somebody. Yeah, it's not that hard to overcome these obstacles. To go to Fox and say, okay, you know what? Let me install this. Let me go to the English site on Fox and figure out how to install the English version of this. And then go through some of the broken English that's poorly translated and figure out the user interface and find a game. You can do that. It's not that hard. I'm sure most people would be able to do that if they set their mind to it. But convenience is so key, right? How many of you have thought about what to eat? Like if you wanted to go and grab something for lunch or dinner and you got something because of how close it is or how quick it is or how easy it is to get, right? That stuff matters. And that matters with food and it also matters with Go. So the fact that these are not browser-based, the English support not being great, it's also kind of an image thing, right? If I'm a new player and I want to like find a nice polished product of a website to play Go on, or a program to play Go on, I want to find something that looks good to me and that I understand and has clear user interface and verbiage. It's not great, right? It's not great for us. Maybe those companies will have plans in the future to have a better translation for everything. OGS is fantastic in this regard. They have translated into many languages through volunteers and things like that. I guess I can't really speak to the other languages and how well they're translated, but they're trying to do, they're trying to reach across cultures, right? And that's something that I think most of the Go servers should try to do more of. But yeah, a lot of these servers, they're not. I think one of the biggest things is that they're not browser based. Like, why aren't we browser based yet? It's because they're kind of set in their ways, and they have a user base, and they don't really feel the need to create a browser application for what they have. And it's kind of a lot. Like, the bigger the application you have, the harder it is going to be to create a browser version of that application. And that's another problem. Another problem that I can segue into: bloat. A lot of these things have a lot of bloat. There's all these modes, there's mini games and rewards and banners and messages, and it's just kind of annoying. Like, we don't need all of that. We need a clean user interface with lessons, puzzles, and it's just very simple stuff that we need. And it's very, I don't know, it's not great. Overall, the whole state of all this stuff seems like a mishmash of all these things, and with no solution that solves everything, with OGS being the best one right now. That said, I will give playgo.gg a chance, and I will look into it. But what do I actually want out of a Go server? What are my must-haves and my wish list items for a Go server? If I were to commission a Go server, or imagine the ideal Go server, well, as I was saying, good language support. It should have natural, clean, clear language support. And this is very important. It needs to have good language support in English, as well as Chinese, as well as Korean, as well as Japanese, as well as many others, right? Portuguese, German, what have you. Don't make me name 100 languages, because I can't. But you get the point. Go is an international game. It's more, I would say, more international than... Maybe I shouldn't say it. I don't know. I was going to say it's more international than chess. I know chess is very international. So, we need Russian. We need Hindi, right? We need all that stuff. But I guess starting with servicing the most popular countries for Go. And we need to encourage that. It needs to be a hub for all those countries. It can't just be servicing one country or one language, which is kind of the approach that I see in a lot of these. Like, Fox is kind of interested in its Chinese user base, and then it supports a little bit to the English-speaking user base. Clean and clear user interface. This is so important. You have no idea how important this is. When I go into the site, I should be able to sign up very easily, and I should be able to find a game really easily. It gets so out of control when we start to say, okay, but what about the time controls? Let's add these options. What about when I want to find a lesson? Oh, what about we can have incentive points? Let's add some points. Let's make a point system and achievements. Let's add achievements. And you start getting crazy, right? And you lose the point. You need to focus on the interface and make sure that the top goals, the primary goals, finding games, is very, very clear and very easy to do. It should have a good tutorial for newcomers and a learning path, something that you can go to. If I am a new player, I don't know the rules, I should have a way to say, what do I do? Where are the lessons? Oh, here, starting, basics. Okay, great. Let me go in and find that. And we do have that on OGS. Actually, a lot of these things I'm listing, OGS has. So that's why OGS has been so successful, because it fits my criteria. I'm just kidding. It has a lot of great things, right? And it's, again, I'm saying it's not perfect, but it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. So good tutorial and learning path. A well-calibrated ranking system. Now, this is a bit more of a technical thing, but obviously you can't have a Go server that is any good if the ranking system is out of whack and everybody is 20Q and you have like this, oh, I met this one guy. He actually achieved 1Q on this rating system and he's actually a 9-dan AGA. Like that would be terrible, right? So it needs to be well calibrated, has to have a good philosophy. I think this one takes a lot of thinking, a lot of high level thinking to come up with how am I going to approach this ranking system? How are we going to rank people up? And what is the barometer for like how strong a player is going to be on our server? I'm curious to see and learn more about how playgo.gg handles it. OGS has a very complex way of doing it, and I think it's kind of over my head, right? And I'm just going to trust that it's good. I think it's good. But a lot of math goes into ranking system. It's very difficult. I would say it's more difficult than the game itself, at least for me. And then you have something like Fox, which is like you just have to win a few games and then you rank up. It's like very simple, but at the same time, that kind of works. So a lot of different approaches, but it just needs to be well calibrated. It needs to make sense, right? Bot transparency. Now, as I said, this is a problem that we just need to try to solve where we can't find matches. And one of those solutions is the availability of bots. And if that has to be the solution to the problem, then so be it. But we need to be transparent about bots. You can't have bots sneaking in and where to the point where if I'm playing a game, I don't know if I'm playing a bot or not, right? I don't want that. That's all I really ask for is that if I get matched with a bot, tell me that you matched me with a bot or allow me to turn it off. Allowing me to turn it off, I understand that's kind of a double-edged sword. If then I turn it off, I start not getting games, I start not coming back. So I think at least the transparency, it doesn't have to be all in your face like an alert, like we couldn't find a match, so here's a bot. You don't have to go that level. But if you just put a little label on the username or something like that, I don't know. I just don't like not knowing, right? As a user. On the other side of bots, we need to be able to detect and get rid of AIs trying to climb the ranks on the server. Bot detection, security, good moderation team, all of that stuff is very essential to a Go server. I listed this as a must-have, but it needs to be pretty. Go is a beautiful game. If I'm taking out a set of stones and a board, it is just pristine. If I go to the Go server and it's ugly and the UI has gradients all over the place, I'm like a MySpace level mouse trailer little effect on it. No, I'm sorry. It needs to be clean. It needs to be beautiful. It's a must-have, honestly. It's going to make or break a server for me. That's why I love Fox for how quickly I can get a game, but I'm going to say it's not pretty. It's not. It's just, there's too many things going on. And that's part of it is the clean and clear user face requirement. The other part is this visual style is antiquated. It really is. It really is. It's just not great. Mobile app support. Now, this is a must-have, but it's like probably the least must-have because of how much it costs to support this. It's a must-have because people have to play on the go. We have to be able to play on our phones because that's just the world right now. We have to. But it's not a must-have because any mobile app that's iOS, Android, whatever, it's a full-time job to support those things. It takes a lot of work and effort to support those. And I understand not everyone has the capital to do that. Not even a lot of big companies don't have they don't invest in doing a mobile app because it's just so much maintenance. You have Apple changing requirements and things like that, breaking your program every now and then with updates. It's a mess, right? And it's like, I understand not wanting to deal with that. So as a compromise, if you don't have a mobile app, at least have a web app available. So you can, and it's just not a thing that most people are aware of, that there are actual differences between a website and a web app and that you can actually install on your phone. but it's a great feature, and I think more people should be aware of it. So mobile support, that is a must-have, whatever way you have, right? I mean, at least, if you're a browser-based service, your browser should work on mobile. That is 100% a must-have. And now we are going into the wish list items for a good Go server. I think a good Go server should have a good collection of Sumego problems. I mean, that's like very nice, right? Very nice to have. If I go to a Go server and they have no Sumego problems, I'm like, okay, whatever, I can find Sumego problems somewhere else. But it's a very nice thing to have, and it seems like an essential. Good community game review tools. Now, this can take a Go server to the next level. OGS, again, I mean, stellar. OGS is stellar in a lot of these. Has a lot of great game review tools. But it could be better. I think we could have something. I think one of my favorites is GoKibitz. I've mentioned that. It's a website where you upload your game and people comment on it, and you have little threads based on different variations and different comments. And if we have a good hub where people can submit games and get reviews quickly, because there are so many kind, generous, willing Go players out there who want to spend the time to help another player improve. We want a hub for that. I think right now one of the best ways to do that is to just go on Reddit and post your game there. And people will inevitably chime in and say, hey, here's what you did wrong, here's what you did right. But a lot of people don't take advantage of that. A lot of people prefer to go on Reddit and post, I suck at Go, how do I get better, without any information. And it's like, well, show us your game, see what problems you have. It's like you go to the doctor and you're telling the doctor like, hey, I'm in pain, and you didn't tell them about any of your symptoms. Customization options is a wish list item. I want good customization options. I want to be able to customize my stones and have good options. Nothing crazy. Like, I don't want to see little dinosaur shaped stones. I don't want to see stones that make like magic noises. Like, I mean, sorry to all the fly or die fans who like have the burning and freezing stones, but I don't want that in a Go server. I mean, if you want that, go play Fly or Die, and that'll be a fun time to be had there. But in a mass appeal oriented Go server, we want clean designs, and you want to be able to customize your stones. You should have flat options. You should have realistic options. I love that OGS allows you to do this. Allows you to change the color of your stones and all that, and it's great. Sound options. I think OGS could improve their sound options. They don't have that many good stone sounds, especially in the realm of the more minimalist kind of knocking and clicking sounds that you have in the Asian Go servers like TiGem and Fox. I wish we had some of those kinds of options on OGS. But these are the wish list items. So that's what I would want in a Go server. Maybe I'll do a follow-up episode one day with the playgo.gg experience and see how that's doing. But overall, a lot of people, to sum up this argument, right? Do we need another Go server? Because if we have another Go server, we split the user base. I always welcome people trying to take a stab at it, right? If a server really is threatening the user base, then that means it's doing something better than the other server. And that's always a good thing to develop our products. It's Pepsi versus Coke, Valorant versus Counter-Strike, right? You had Counter-Strike sitting on its laurels for the longest time, right? Everyone was playing Counter-Strike. And then Valorant shows up. It's like revolutionizing the whole formula. And a lot of Counter-Strike players start moving over to Valorant. And Counter-Strike is like, oh, dang, like I need to step up my game. Starts releasing Counter-Strike 2. Starts making changes to its UI, copying from Valorant. And they're doing a dialogue where they exchange ideas. And then they each have their own separate user base that supports each other. Now, we don't have nearly the user base of those games to work with. But I still think that dialogue needs to be started, and the fact that these little Go servers are popping up here and there, and they are leaving, right? Some of them are popping up and leaving, and some of them are old and leaving, right? KGS, PandaNet, these servers seem to be not as active as they used to be. Overall, I would like to see a worthy challenger of OGS. So, to the answer to the question, do we need more Go servers? No, we don't need more Go servers, but I love to see the new ideas that are put to the table. And I welcome all the attempts that are done in earnest to create a better Go server for the community. One thing I'm not the biggest fan of for Playgo.gg and OGS, actually, is the name. Like, I don't know, something about online Go server as the name, or Playgo.gg. I feel like it should have a little more character. I mean, it's good for SEO. It's good for letting the players know what it is. If only we can get Go.com, right? Can somebody get Go.com? What is that right now? What if oh, it's Disney. It's Disney. Well, okay, wait, hold on. Paduk.com. Paduk. Okay, somebody who likes Go took Paduk.com. Because I know this because I go to Paduk.com and it says Go in various languages, and then it has 2020 on in the middle. Someone wants to do something with Paduk.com. Please take Paduk.com and make the best Go server. That's probably the best thing ever, right? If you get Paduk.com, that could be like the chess.com of Go. Anyway, it's time for the DDK Advice Corner, and the tip of the day is pick certain value over possible value. Now, I don't know if this is always going to be true, but if you have something iffy, like, that looks like it could work, and maybe if it works, I can get this many points or kill that group, maybe consider more of the options that are like, well, this will get me this many points, 100%. Balance that, right? Learn to judge those two situations where in one situation you are not sure about how much value you're going to get out of the move, but you're kind of being greedy and trying to get a lot of value with a risky move versus something that you know for sure will give you more value. This is, like I said, not going to always be true, but it will be true for more of you who are constantly choosing risky moves that end up short and losing stones for you and stuff like that. It may be good to be more conservative for you to pick moves that add certain value. And now it's time for listener mail. Josh writes, Dear Justin, I hope you are doing well. I listened to the episode about Go adjacent board games and wanted to reach out because I recently came across a cool game based on Go called Go-Cane. That's an interesting name there. It's basically a multiplayer 2 to 6 player board game that borrows Go's territory control ideas and wraps them around an economic/logistics game. Instead of just black and white stones, you're building distribution networks, moving product around the map, buying stones, messing with other players' supply lines, and trying to make the most money. The reason it's stuck in my head is that it doesn't feel like most Go variants, where somebody tweaks the win condition and calls it a day. It actually tries to build an entire board game around Go concepts. Anyway, I figured it was obscure enough that you might find it interesting if you haven't run across it already. And sorry if you've mentioned it and I missed it. Thanks for the podcast. I've been enjoying it. Josh. Thanks for writing in. Thanks for the mention, Josh. I definitely have not come across this game before, so thanks for mentioning it. And just by looking at it, it does look very interesting. It reminds me of like Onitama, which is a chess variant, but it's not a chess variant in the sense that you just take a couple pieces on a chessboard and switch them around. It's like a newly invented chess variant. It's very different, but also echoes chess, which I'm getting the vibe on this game. Unfortunate on the theming of it. It's a little bit strange. I don't know if the Venn diagram of interest on the theme and the Go player community is very big for this, but I guess it has a shock value to it. Anyway, thanks for writing in, Josh. Solara writes, so happy the collab suggestion was a success. Before I continue reading, Solara, a member of our Discord, was the one who suggested we do a collaboration with All Things Go. So thank you to Solara for making that suggestion, because it did lead to these collaboration, and I'm glad you got to see it. Generally, I'm a lurker, but I feel the desire to respond to this week's question: visibility versus popularity. I personally would prefer more visibility. Whenever you meet new people and try to describe what you are most passionate about in life, for it to just need to be explained time and time again is pretty frustrating. It's like chess but harder, quote unquote. To me, it is kind of an injustice to what makes Go so beautiful. Aside from the strategic aspect, but the allegories to Buddhism, especially with what I enjoy that's explained very well in Buddhist Philosophy and the Game of Go by William Cobb. I am personally having an inner conflict with balancing my hobbies. Currently, video games are taking priority as it's just easier to turn brain off instead of think hard to play a game of Go. I am absolutely in the same position as you, Solara. I'm doing the video games too. And I'm also with you on the visibility. And talking to Travis about that topic really made me realize that, visibility is really the priority rather than popularity. Because visibility ultimately actually does even lead to popularity. But even if I were to choose one over the other, it would be, I think, visibility. Like, I'd rather have more people aware in the culture to know about Go. Although the whole episode I talked about splitting the user base, so popularity is important too. Continuing, I think at this point I see playing a game of Go in the way I want to enjoy it is more like a practice of meditation. I want to enter flow state. I need zero interruptions. I need to shut the door to hide from the kids, which, mind you, rarely happens. Your kid is still young enough you may not understand a 10-year-old running in with a beach ball and no cease to the pestering. I don't have kids, by the way, Solara. Not yet, at least. You might be confused with Travis, who does have a kid, which I love, but oh my gosh, LOL. What I mean to say is, I see Go as more than a game and a way of life. It definitely detracts / hampers the ability to meet new people on a level playing field, because I find that you pretty much are guaranteed to attempt to explain what it is, downplay it by comparing it to chess, or it's not worth it to try and explain something so deep in summary to someone that just doesn't understand. I could keep going on, but it feels like repeating. So, I kind of have different phases of Go. And sometimes I feel like it is the way you describe it. It's like more than a game. It's bigger, and it's like it has so much philosophy and life in it. But other times I treat it more like it is just kind of a little game, like a fun little arcade game. And I've talked about that arcade game mentality helping with allowing you to just let loose and churn out games and not feel like it needs to be perfect and just kind of just grind. And that's how a lot of, I think, Asian players play the game, is they just kind of play for fun and they just kind of go in and in and in and in. But for me, like I go through phases. I definitely see both sides of that. And then the other thing that you said was like how whenever you have the opportunity to explain Go to somebody, you end up downplaying it and comparing it to chess and feeling like, you know, your words aren't doing enough. And I think that's something that a lot of Go players do as well. And that's maybe not something that propagates the game, right? If everybody who's playing Go is like, you know, it's kind of hard to understand, you wouldn't get it, right? Like I have that instinct as well, right? Like, and I kind of feel bad for talking about Go, right? That's why I started this podcast, so I could talk about Go as much as I want. But if I meet somebody and they're like, what do you do? It's like, I play Go. And they're like, what is that? I'm like, okay, let's spend as small amount of time as possible on this, right? Because if I spend more than a minute talking about Go, their eyes are going to glaze over. So let's just try to be as polite as possible and say, oh, it's a game. It's just a strategy game. what do you want to talk about, right? I've had that experience, so I totally get that. But maybe we should be more promoters, right? Evangelizers of Go, and be more excited about it. Oh, it's great. It's like so deep. It has like philosophy built into it, and it's like the oldest board game in the world. It's great. You should try it, and you should, play a game with me sometime. I would love to do that. And if we were more enthusiastic about it, then maybe Go would be more popular. Continuing, love the show, love the content. Sometimes I don't get around to the episode until several days later, but never have 2 episodes back to back to listen to. You are my solution to chores. Thank you for keeping this podcast going and continuing to motivate us that need it. It's truly a gift that there is audio content to stimulate being surrounded by like-minded people for those of us that don't/can't get out and be around other Go people. I think of those Go players in rural, unpopulated areas where the closest Go club is in another state. Ending thought. What would it be like if there were Go salons here in the States and Go club was every day? Retiring and living in a Go club every day seems pretty nice. Until next time. Well, thank you so much for your support and kind words, Solara. They mean very much to me, to know that you feel that way. That's all I want to do with the podcast, right? Is just kind of spread Go thinking and talking about random stuff about Go. Because we as a Go community, since we're so thin all around the world, we have to unite on online platforms such as this. Go salons. I would love that. That would be amazing. That would be crazy. If I could just go out and just drop into a Go salon, I mean, that would be such a nice way to spend an evening or an afternoon. It would be great. But there are not. Except, actually, I know of a couple, or at least one. I know of like one Go salon that I have seen in California. I think it was in Garden Grove. But it was kind of intimidating, right, to enter. And I was with friends who weren't Go players, and so I didn't want to like actually go in. But it was like all old Korean men, right? So it's like, I bet if you walked in and you didn't know how to speak Korean, it might be hard to get started. Or they might be like, what are you doing here? You're not one of the regulars. But I did see one. I wonder if it's still up and running. That was before COVID, so it could be that COVID wiped it out. But I don't know. I would maybe look into that again. Anyway, thank you so much again for writing in, Solara. And finally, last but not least, Sadaharu writes, do I want Go to be popular? Of course, yes. I want more people to be playing Go, but at the same time, I don't want it to end up like chess, where there are so many toxic players and fans. Just like martial arts such as judo, the core values of Go should be kept while popularizing it. Eventually, if Go is globalized, the culture may experience some changes, but I hope that at least the core values can remain the same. I would hope for that too, or that if Go becomes bigger and toxic, people can, learn and kind of go back and realize the roots of it and become more mature about things. The question here is like, for chess, the chess boom started in COVID, and a lot of the prominent chess professionals were looking down on the chess boom because a lot of people were focusing on new players and playing chess incorrectly, playing with memes, playing like improperly, and just not going about things the way they were used to, and essentially gatekeeping, which I don't want to do for Go, right? We do have some traditions here we want to keep, but I mean, it's a trade-off, right? Like if you imagine like hordes of people coming to Go saying, oh, I love Go, I want to play Go, and then they're all like playing bottom left corner first instead of top right, that would get on my nerves, but I would still be happy that people are playing Go. Toxic culture is very difficult. I think the thing is that as things get popular, they inevitably become toxic. Unfortunately, it's just the more people play a game, the more likely it is to become toxic. As long as we, the OG Go community, remember our roots and we maintain a solid core, policing as much as we can, I feel like we can survive that. And if you were to give me a red pill and a blue pill, where I say red pill, Go community stays as big as it is right now. Actually, that would be the other way. in the matrix. Blue pill would be keep the Go community the same. Red pill would be your Go community grows exponentially, but also becomes incredibly toxic. I would still take the red pill. I think those are issues we can solve over time, and not everybody's toxic. It's just that more players means more toxic players, but it also means more non-toxic players. It just means more players in general. So anyway, thanks for writing in. Thanks for all your thoughts, you guys. If you want to write in for this episode, the question of the week is, what do you want most out of a Go server? What are your complaints about the current offerings? And have you tried playgo.gg? What do you think of it? If you want to share your thoughts on this question or have a Go comment, story, anything to share with me, leave a comment wherever you found this episode or email me at starpointpaduk@gmail.com. That's starpointbaduk@gmail.com. If you're a YouTube listener, I would greatly appreciate a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're a podcast listener, reviews and ratings also help. A very special thank you, as always, to James B., Brandon S., Tristan H., Jeff H., Tyraniton, and Andrew P. for supporting Starpoint. I appreciate you guys very much. If you want to support the show in any capacity, you can go to ko-fi.com/starpointpaduk, that's ko-fi, or check out the Starpoint store at store.starpointpaduk.com. And come on over to the Discord, talk to other like-minded Starpoint listeners. You can find the link in the description. And you know what the... sorry, this is weird. You know what the most delicious move is in Go? The most delicious move in Go is a potato wedge. Thanks for listening. Keep playing Go.